From the iconic Penn State University campus to the hidden gems of neighborhoods, we're here to unravel the stories behind the properties and bring you the insights that go beyond the for sale signs. So whether you're a Nittany Lion at heart or just considering a move to this vibrant town, stay tuned for expert interviews, market analysis, and tips to navigate the State College real estate landscape. But hey, it's not all about bricks and mortar. We'll also shine a spotlight on the community events, businesses, and incredible people that make State College the fantastic place it is. Get ready for a journey through Happy Valley's housing market, where we'll tackle your questions, debunk real estate myths, and maybe even share a laugh or two. So buckle up and join Mark McMaster on the Sell It Faster with McMaster podcast, the podcast that brings you the keys to your dream home in the heart of Pennsylvania.
All right. Welcome back to the Sell It Faster with McMaster podcast and the Sell It Faster with McMaster worldwide headquarters. This week, we have a real treat. Someone I've known for a long time. We spent a lot of time together. Kacee Burke, who used to be my assistant at RE/MAX, not anymore, moved on to much bigger and better things. So she's got a lot of cool stuff going on right now that we're going to talk about today. So tell us who you are, where you came from, what you're doing now, all the good stuff. Your origin story.
I grew up in Center County in Stormstown. I went to Penn State, got a degree in horticulture and art, sort of just mixed what I love together.
How do those two things go together? Horticulture and art.
Well, I wanted to learn how to grow food, so the horticulture.
And then draw pictures of it?
It was just sort of too scientific for me. I have a creative side I needed to indulge in, so my parents worked at Penn State. I got the discount, so why not just
why not do whatever you want at that point? Yeah.
So I just did that and got those 2 degrees. And
what did you do then?
Then I worked at Home Depot for a little bit. That was just sort of an in-between job. Eventually led me to Mark. I worked as a licensed assistant at RE/MAX. I don't even know how long, 5 years.
That you were there?
Yeah.
It was probably at least that.
I don't even remember.
It was at least 2 children.
Well, I have 4, so.
Because that was...
I was pregnant when I started.
Oh, I know. I remember that was... Oh,
so
hey,
that was like 2014. Probably.
We'd like to hire you. Okay, cool. I have the job? Yeah, you have the job. Cool. I'm pregnant.
Pretty much.
I'm going to need some time off.
Yeah.
But that worked out. We always used to joke that chair is what made people pregnant.
Mackenzie still isn't there yet, but eventually.
Mackenzie is not. My last assistant, now agent, Ashley, she's pregnant.
That's awesome.
So it's just something about being in my office, apparently.
That's funny.
Yeah. So you were there. You and I worked together for 5-ish years, we think.
At least.
Yeah. And then when Scott and I parted ways, it just didn't work to come back.
Yep.
So then you went to Penn State, working at Penn State. Is that where you're still working?
Yep. It eventually led me to the animal science department, which is just right up my alley. My husband and I operate a first-generation farm in Center County. We do livestock, all the feed for the livestock, sell meat, and we also have a stand at the Grange Fair with my sister-in-law. That sort of led us to where Skylar and I are now. We're launching our food truck in May. We're so pumped about it.
Yeah, that's a freaking cool one, and we'll get to that in a bit.
There's a lot of steps in between.
Let's go the steps in between, because how that story came along, because no one goes into farming anymore.
Right.
Like because Chad was doing it first. Chad, your husband, was doing it first.
Yep.
How did he get into farming?
I think he didn't grow up in farming, so we're first
Which
generation.
is interesting because people usually it's generational.
Yep.
You grow up in farming, you're a farm kid, and that's what you do.
Take over your family farm.
The century farms and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, we wish, but
yeah, eventually it probably will. So he just got into farming.
Yeah, in high school, this is something he was interested in. He bought a couple heifers, bred them.
Through 4-H or?
No, just
started doing it.
Yeah.
As like a business venture.
As a hobby at that point, I would say. And rented land. So he rented a couple acres pasture, and then he eventually bought a mower and rented some hay ground, and then just was doing that to feed all the animals.
Just started doing it.
And slowly growing the herd. Currently, we're about 60 moms for our beef.
Okay.
So right now they're just getting done calving. So we have about 60.
So that's how that
calves.
works. Like, and that's how you quantify it. Like we have 60 that calve, and then you just like you bring in a bull, or
we own 3 bulls.
Okay.
So because what we do a lot
lucky
of
fellas.
Yeah,
60 ladies.
We'll split between 3. It's only 20.
20 apiece. Lucky fellas.
We do a lot of rotational grazing, so we need to have 3 bulls and the genetics, so we're not interbreeding a lot.
Right.
So that happens. We're going to be moving out to pasture soon. Then about in a month, I think we add the bulls in, and they do their job.
They get to work.
Yeah.
And that's how you do it. You like keep them all separated. So, because probably like most people that don't know anything about farming, they think, oh, you stick them out there all together and they naturally sort themselves out, so they're not inbreeding.
No. You have to keep the genetics separate.
Right. So you have to be very organized.
Yep.
Because I don't think people realize like how smart you have to be be a farmer. Like, she's just a dumb farmer. Yeah. No, that's not how it works.
He carries the hat of many roles.
Yeah.
Not just the bookkeeping of the breeding and midwife and all he does in that, but mechanic. Tons of mechanic work. Crop rotations. We do a lot of crop rotations, so keeping track of that and the inputs that go with that. It's amazing how many things he does.
Right.
In one day, even.
Like you said, you have to be a mechanic. You have to be an amateur veterinarian.
Yes.
You have to be a scientist of some sorts, to figure out what needs to go where, crop rotation stuff, just like you said. And like, that's not easy stuff.
Yep.
And he just figured it out, right? Like he didn't go to school for it.
Thank God for the internet now. So.
Oh, you can learn anything on YouTube.
Even just ideas we want to play with, or so many things. To do the mechanic work, he's ordered all of the shop books. So, he's torn a tractor down to the engine when we needed to rebuild one little part in there. So.
Right, because you can't afford, for farming, you can't afford to just pay someone to do that.
We cannot.
You just have to figure it out.
Yep. There's been many instances where that has come into play for him. So.
That just figuring it out?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, fly by the seat of your pants. You have no choice. So.
That was how I learned how to fix my dryer. Like my dryer died on a Friday, and I said, that was probably the first thing I learned how to fix on YouTube. My dryer died on a Friday. I'm like, well, it's going to be at least Monday until I can get someone here to look at it.
Look at it.
Yep. I'm like, let's see what YouTube says. Yeah. And there was a YouTube video on how to break that thing down and troubleshoot it. Like, all right, we'll try this. If it's not this, take it down a little further. If it's not this, take it down a little further. I had my dryer completely disassembled in my laundry room and found out that there was a broken motor mount. So
wow.
I Amazon Prime that thing.
Oh, yeah.
I had it by Monday. I had that thing fixed before probably I could get someone out there.
Oh, yeah. We do rely on that. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, now I'm like, that was my key when I was like, you really can learn how to do anything on YouTube.
Yep.
So now that's all I watch.
Yep.
I don't watch regular TV. I watch YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
I learned how to do a podcast. I learned how to do a video podcast just by watching a bunch of YouTube videos because I'm a nerd. But nerds are what make the world go around now.
Yep.
So, so Chad just learned how to farm.
Yep.
And then when did you guys meet? High school?
We've known each other. I mean, he grew up out there as well. So, you know, I know him from Little League with my brother, but we sort of got hooked up romantically, I guess, when I was in college.
Yeah. And then he was like, she's going on a horticulture degree. I need this. I need this. Someone who's going to get the smarts.
You don't know about agronomy? I'm like, no, it's different.
It's different. Dang, I got hoodwinked. Damn it. This is not as good as I thought it would work out.
No, but we make a good team bouncing ideas off each other. And so we got married in 2008. So going on 16 years now. You know, at this time, we're still renting all of our land. Just slowly growing, losing things, which would be feel so detrimental to what we're doing. You know, we'd plant a hayfield 2 years prior. It costs a lot to plant a hayfield, so you want to have that for 5 years to recoup your costs. We'd lose it, 2 or 3 years in, and
just because you lose the lease.
Yep.
And they want to do something else with the land, or
Yep.
somebody else comes in and pays more money for it.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you have to start over somewhere
Yep.
else.
But it seems every time that happens, it's an opportunity for us to level up. Like, it doesn't seem that at the time.
Yeah.
But it always ends up working out that way. So it's just.
Right. Because, like, I've watched this process.
Yes.
Like, when you and I met, you guys didn't own anything,
I don't even
really?
know if he was still. I don't even know if he was farming full time at that point. I can't remember.
What did he do before that?
Excavating. He was a heavy equipment operator.
He might have been doing that right when
Yeah.
we started working together.
Yep.
Because I don't remember Chad being anything
But a
other than a
farmer.
farmer.
Yeah.
So if it was like right at
Yeah,
the...
so there was a point in time he was doing excavating. He was a heavy equipment operator before he could go full time. So I think we were right on the cusp when I started there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you were renting stuff, and I remember you guys going through a lot of that, always
Yeah.
trying to find land to rent and losing it, and like always trying to find a place that you could buy.
Yep.
And eventually you did.
Yep.
And that was a fun transaction. I still use that as an example of what happens if you can't get in to do the walkthrough.
Oh.
So to tell our good listeners this story, it was the farm that Kacee and Chad bought was a divorce situation.
Yep.
And the wife was still living in the house, and she was a little difficult to deal with, and she was going to live there for a month or two, a month
Yep.
after closing. So we went to do the walkthrough the night before closing, I think, and she would not let us in. Me specifically, she would not let in because she said that I had threatened her. And the way I had threatened her was, if you don't give us keys to the house, we won't give you the money for the house. So apparently that was a threat. But so Kacee, having a real estate background anyway, just did the walkthrough anyway, and everything worked out in the end.
Yeah.
And now you live there.
Yep.
After she did finally move out, and the keys she gave us weren't the right keys
Fake
anyway.
keys, yep.
Fake keys, which I'll be honest, if I were her, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. It all ended up working out.
Oh yeah. And in real estate, it's like, I always tell people, like, look, this is a short-term inconvenience for a long-term gain.
Yeah, but when you're in this situation, it doesn't feel like that.
Oh, I know. It's like, oh, this is the worst thing that ever happened to me. And what does Joe Rogan say all the time? When the worst thing that ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you at that time.
Right.
Like, and that's different for everyone.
Yep.
Like, oh, this is the worst thing that ever happened to me. Okay. But for someone else, it may not have been.
Right.
But, and like you said, now looking back on it, you're like, that was no big deal.
Yep.
Because you guys have done a ton of stuff out there since then.
Yep.
So since you guys moved to the farm, what kind of stuff have you guys done out there?
A ton of fencing. Mm-hmm. The well was a project done by the NRCS, which was operated on solar. Well, the solar, nobody knew how to fix the solar. So we had to run electricity to get
Out to like the
pump.
top of that hill where that...
Well, actually, the well was down below, and then it would go up to the well, and then that would gravity feed.
Okay.
So we had to run it to the well pump to get it. So we did that. We had to run all new piping. We enclosed a shop, put some walk-ins in there because the meat, we needed that. A ton of fencing projects. That was a big thing for us.
And how many acres do you guys have again?
Just shy of 50 there.
Okay.
But total, we farm about 450.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Between the pastures and farmable land, so.
And is it all pretty close around where you guys are in Stormstown?
Yeah, it's all pretty close. The furthest I think away would be Ashcrafts, which is just on your side of 550.
Right. Yeah,
Yep.
out here on 550. I
Yep.
drive past there all the time.
Yep. So we rent pasture there and farmland. So.
Mm-hmm. So what all are you guys doing out there now? Because we were just talking in the house when you got here about all of the animals that you have now.
Yep.
If you
So-
can even remember all of the animals that you have now. Because when I asked, you're like, I don't know.
A little quick math. So how we operate is all the mammals are born on our farm. So we have,
And that's how you classify it as mammals and non-mammals?
well, the poultry are not mammals.
Okay.
We buy some of those, not all of them, I guess, some of them in.
Okay.
So the cattle's born on our farm.
Mm-hmm.
They're almost the tail end of that. We have goats.
So how many cattle do you have now?
Total,
Because you said you have 60 moms,
Yeah, about
3
60.
bulls, and now how many
about
calves do you
60
have?
babies. And plus for our butcher, because we have all sorts of ages in our butcher
Mm-hmm.
program, we probably have about 50 in there.
Okay.
So, all the goats,
So you have like
50-ish.
150 cows,
Yeah.
cattle.
Yep.
Us
In various ages.
non-farmers
Yeah.
forget that you're not supposed. They're not all cows.
No.
Yeah.
But interchangeably, that's fine.
Sure.
Probably around 70 goats, including the kids that we just had born. A
Okay.
lot of them have doubles or triples.
And what do you do with the goats?
Meat goats.
Meat
Yep.
goats. Who buys goat meat?
It's actually really popular around here.
Is it?
Yep.
The international community?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. So that's a really good market there we have. There isn't much meat that comes from a goat, though. They're pretty small.
Yeah, I was about to say
it takes
there.
a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also have the pigs, small breeding program. We have about 5 breeding moms and then a boar and then some in the butcher size.
Yeah.
Chickens, the chicks, what did I say in there?
Oh, you said you just bought 63
something.
chicks from Tractor Supply. Since you know that you got an in, the
Yep.
chicken man at Tractor Supply gives you a discount. And don't tell anyone, though.
That's between you and me.
That's between you and me and probably about 60 people that'll actually listen to this. And then you said you have what, like another 50 or something meat birds, and then
150 meat birds. Those will eventually be going out in pasture. So we
Yeah.
raise pastured chicken, and then we'll sell that through the summer.
right. And then you do other birds too, don't you?
Turkeys for Thanksgiving.
Oh, just for Thanksgiving?
Yep.
So you don't keep them year round?
No, those take about 6 months to grow out. So
So you get them like this time of year? And
July.
Then how's that work?
Oh, I
Oh,
guess
'cause you
5
don't-
months. We butcher them the week right before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So then people can have them fresh. They're never frozen.
Yeah, you've probably heard of Lou Bryson. He did a podcast on like he goes and gets a fresh turkey for
yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I just get the free one from Giant.
You should try a fresh one.
I probably should, but I barely know how to cook a turkey.
We always brine and smoke it. You should try that. It's delicious.
I smoked one year because now, like, we don't get ham at Easter or free ham from Giant, so
Yeah.
we just get another turkey. Like, because we end up with all these Giant points. We're like, what do we do with these?
Right.
I don't want to use it all for gas. I want to get something else. So we got a free turkey. Then I just make a turkey and I eat it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you guys are very conscious about what you're feeding your animals and how. So
Yep.
so how do you work that?
So this is another thing where Chad's crop planning comes in. So we grow all of their feed for all of our animals. For the cows, we try to do it's grass fed, so no grain for them. So he's worried about what nutrients are they going to be getting through the winter. So that's a lot of planning. He does a lot of baleage, which is the round wrap bales, the marshmallows in the field.
Yep.
I don't even know how many acres of those. A lot. He
Just for like storage of them, you
just
mean?
for our cows.
Yeah,
So
because I can't imagine when you're talking 150 cows or of how much you have to get through the winter so you can.
He shoots for about 700, and they're 4 by 5 foot bales.
Yeah,
So he's
growing all that himself.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's on mostly our rented land. We also do soybeans, corn, and other small grains like barley, wheat, oats, and that goes into our ration for our poultry.
Okay.
So
Not selling all that like the barley off to the local breweries.
they have way higher standards that we can provide.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It has to be like food quality. We grow more livestock quality.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yep.
Food quality for animals.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we sell the excess, and that sort of pays a lot of the bills we need to grow it. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So then where's it going after that?
The meat.
Yeah.
They go to the butchers. We have great working relationships with Brenneman's and Mark's Meats. We've been using both of them for over 10 years.
Yeah. Well, that's where we get most of our stuff from you. Yeah. Like talk about knowing where your food comes from. Like, yeah, that just came from a friend of mine's farm right down the road.
Yep.
Literally practically on the same road.
Pretty much.
Yeah. One block
Hop
up,
over. Yeah.
one block up.
Country block.
Yeah, no. Although Stormstown's so far away.
It's not.
I know. Well, Brent and Erica live out there now.
Yep. But they live a little bit further.
a little bit further. And
Couple miles.
I'm like, oh, we should go see Brent and Erica. I'm like, it's like 30 minutes. It's like 25, 30 minutes to their place. It's on the far opposite end of the county. Although, you know, they always say the average commute for people to go to work is like 23 minutes. So we're all spoiled here because it's like not that far to go anywhere. I felt like when I moved out here, like, oh, it's 20 minutes to get to my office. It's so far. It's really not that far.
No, it's not.
No. So how do you sell it? Like, is it all word of mouth? How are you guys getting it out there?
Yep. We sell at 2 farmers markets, the North Atherton Market, which is Saturday at Home Depot. That's starting mid-May. And the Bullsburg Farmers Market, which is Tuesday at the Military Museum. And that also starts mid-May.
Okay. So then do you have people just come there and sign up for like a quarter or a half, or you selling it in like out of a freezer or something there?
Both ways. So people can get quarters and halves. We do that year round for cattle. Pigs is about once a year.
Yeah.
But we do have retail cuts. So we have a trailer we bring to the market. It has 3 freezers, and we have pork. We have everything there: pork, beef, chicken.
That's awesome.
Yep, goat.
Just rolls out so you keep that at the farm then?
Yep, it's a trailer. We just plug it in when we get home, and it's ready to go.
That's freaking... What will they think of next? Like, I just roll a trailer full of meat out. There was always... Menotti always joked that there was some guy who used to come to his neighborhood with a truck.
No, I remember him too.
Yeah.
They came out to Stormstown too.
Yeah, but he is always like, where do they get this? I think they stole this meat. They steal it, and then they just drive around in this van and sell it.
Get a permit to do that.
Door-to-door meat
like
sales.
Schwan meat.
Yeah, like the Schwan's meat guy, but it's fresh. It's not a bunch of crap. So you sell at the farmer's market, and then tell how does the thing at the mall work? Because I just heard about this thing.
So that's Center Markets. That started during COVID when the food system was super fragile. You know, there's the meat shortages. Toilet paper really has nothing to do with this, but just all the short supply chain issues.
Right, all the supply chain stuff.
Yep, and you know, large butcher places were shutting down. So she started during then as a way, because we didn't even know if we were going to be able to have farmers markets that year with all the restrictions that were going on. So she started an online market. It happened at the Bullsburg church during that market, Tuesday market, because we had to be outside, all spread out. So they found a new location, and it has grown since then. Every Wednesday it opens up.
The one in the mall.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is the online component. I'll tell you about the store after.
Oh, okay.
Yep. All the people list their stuff. Your neighbor sells there too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Janet, Piper's Pack.
And then it closes down Friday at 5. All the merchants bring all their stuff to the mall, and then you pick up there on Saturday. I think it's 2 to 4. I think their pickup is, or they also offer delivery. But she started growing her idea, and she's at the Nittany Mall just opened up the retail. So they're open, I think, 5 days a week.
Okay.
They're not open Saturday for retail sales, and they're actually opening up a store in Pine Grove Mills, the white 2-story across from the gas station. Do you know where I'm talking?
Oh yeah.
They ran into some code issues.
Weird. Code issues in Center Region?
One, it's an old building, you know, ADA, and they had to...
Oh, I know. We can't make any kind of dispensations for that at all. Like, oh, too bad. You got to make it to current code.
The mall was sort of a last minute, but I think it's really working out. I mean, the mall, how often does anyone go there?
Well,
To walk.
Right, to walk. But now, if you can have a destination place for it, that's good.
And I think there's definitely a lot of people popping in, which is great.
Yeah.
And it's right by the exit, so it's not, you don't have to go searching for it.
And I'm sure it's cheap. The rental space, I'm sure, is cheap.
To fill people. Yeah, they want people in there.
Oh, yeah. I looked into it. We were looking into it for a client who wanted to open a barbershop.
That'd be good in there.
Like, this was like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
Right before COVID. And they quoted us the rate for the space. I'm like, I might just go get an office out there. It's so cheap. Like, I might just go get an office just because then I can go walk around. I can do whatever. Like, it's just another location to have the brand out there somewhere. It was so cheap because no one's going out there. It's, it'll be interesting to see if they ever get the casino in there and how that plays out and if that changes anything. But yeah, it's just no one's out there. So I used to go out there to the mall. Probably once every 6 months just to take a walk through it, see what was there.
Yep.
And I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
I go to Dunham's and get stuff, And sometimes I swing through Rural King and grab a popcorn and walk through, see what they got.
Is Dunham's connected through the mall?
Yes. Dunham's you can get
Rural
into
King
the
is
mall.
not.
Rural King is not.
Yep, okay.
Yeah. Real estate trivia, when Rural King went in there, they actually cut that piece off of the mall property wise and condoed it, and Rural King bought it.
Oh, wow.
So Rural King owns the old Sears space in the mall,
Huh.
and that's why it's not connected. Same with the casino. They condoed that off, the space that's supposed to be the casino,
Yep.
which is Macy's, the old Macy's, and sold that off to the people who are going to develop the casino.
Huh.
So there's your real estate trivia. Now we've tied the podcast back to real estate, which is perfect. Yeah, so you're selling at center markets, you're selling at the farmers markets, Bollesburg, and which other one?
North Atherton.
North Atherton, yep. And then you guys are just starting a food truck.
Yep. So how the food truck sort of came to be is we have a hamburger stand at the Grange Fair.
Yeah, took that over from somebody.
Yep.
Yep.
So that, I think 2018, that was right before.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had this opportunity to use a space at the Grange Fair, and we're like, okay.
And you knew a good place to get beef for
Yeah.
hamburgers. Yeah, weird.
And Chad's sister is a trained chef.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember where she was working at the time. Maybe Penn State Altoona. I can't remember. Somewhere at Penn State. So her and I bounced ideas off each other. You know, we were pretty much scared shitless because we didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fair is so busy.
It's
what
so
are we
busy.
getting into?
Right. And you're either going to be ridiculously busy or it's
Yep.
going to be a complete waste of time and money. Yeah.
Yep. So
Turned out it was, how does that work? The latter? No, the former. The first one. Really busy. Yeah.
So we schedule all what we would think we would need for butcher cattle because, you know, we didn't really know going into it.
Mm-hmm.
We schedule some just for the fair.
I didn't even think of that.
Yep.
It's not like, hey, we keep inventory of ground beef.
Right.
It's like, no, our inventory of ground beef is still walking around out back. Yeah.
So we did that real quick. Skylar and I came up with the menu. We collaborate really well. Skylar is Chad's sister.
Yeah, you guys came up with some really cool
Yep.
recipes and ideas and stuff.
Yep. You know, we obviously skipped COVID year, but we had just slowly built our systems there. And every year after the fair, you know, you have that high of doing that.
Yeah.
You know, we both thrive in that. So every year we're like, we need to start something year round every year. And so this past year, we're just like, let's just do it. So we looked around seeing what food trucks would cost. What would a new one cost? What do we want to build one? Evan Schuyler's husband is super handy, like can build anything. We were throwing around that idea, and then one came up in Mill Hall, barely used, and we took that opportunity. And
So is it a drivable truck or is it a trailer?
it's a trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, but 28 foot, so it's a big one.
Yeah, it is.
Really nice setup. Like I said, pretty much brand new. You can hardly tell it was used. We've been getting it ready since we brought it home. I think that was in February or early March. February, maybe. And we've had a couple catering jobs. We're fully inspected pretty much almost soon after we bought it.
Who has to inspect it?
Pennsylvania Department of Health.
Okay.
Yep.
And what's it called?
Farmstead Fusion.
I recall seeing like some polls and things online.
Yeah, we tallied the community. We wanted to see what people's thoughts were on some names we were throwing around. Ideas, you know, just market research, really.
Yeah.
We wanted to know what people wanted to see in a food truck, how they wanted to be communicated with. Farmstead Fusion Farm to Fork went out. So our business model is we're going to focus on getting supplied through the food truck through local farms.
Through local people.
Yep.
Yeah, which is awesome.
So
which is like what Refarm Cafe kind of
Yep.
did. They try to keep everything within like 50 miles or something
Yep.
of where they're at.
So that's a huge focus of ours. We want to do seasonal changing menu. Mm-hmm. So when we're going to a winery or brewery month to month, you may not see the same thing. So,
Right. And I think people want that.
Right.
Like, there's restaurants that I go to that when I first started going there, I loved it. And then when you run through the menu, you're like, all right, well, I've done all of this. Like,
Right.
I don't want to go back and have the same thing over and over.
Yep.
And when they start changing it up is when you get more people and you get
Yep.
more enthusiasm on it,
Yep.
which is great. And I like to see that stuff because it gives me the ability to basically go to a new restaurant
Right.
all the time.
Yep. And we're focusing on quality. So obviously.
Mm-hmm. So what's the menu look like right now?
So the menu we're working on for May is we're having a burger. We're always going to have a burger. What burger that is going to change. Right now we're working on like a onion jam burger because we still have onions in storage we want to use. So onions coming from us. We are doing a pesto chicken salad type wrap.
If you need any basil, I got a basil plant up there.
We're always going to have a vegan option because we want to be able to have vegans have a choice. So something they can eat without not just saying, oh, I just don't want cheese on that. So we want to, play with the flavors of vegan.
I just don't want cheese on my burger.
Right. My chicken wrap.
For the vegan option. Yeah.
There was something else we had on there. I forget. We had 4 items. I can't recall right now. But we will be posting that soon, what we're rolling out for May.
Right. So I think I saw you guys had a schedule out for where you're going to be coming up in May. Where is it?
We're pretty booked. We're going to be at Sunday Fun Day in Smith and Front.
Oh, that's cool because I just saw that pop up and I sent it to Steph because since we moved out here, we're big Bellefonte fans now.
I love Bellefonte.
And our favorite bar to go is the Republic whenever they're open. I wanted to go there Tuesday night.
Where's that?
It's the Gamble Mill.
Oh, okay. The bar in there.
It's the bar in the basement of the Gamble Mill. Yeah, it was. That was kind of a funny little side story there. I was at the grocery store on Tuesday, and I saw the bartender and owner Meg in there buying limes, and I was like, and it was the day it was like really warm out, like 75 degrees.
Getting ready.
I was like, oh, it would be awesome because it just like triggered something in my head. It'd be awesome if Steph and I went down to the Republic and had drinks down there on the patio.
Oh yeah.
So Steph gets off work. I'm like, hey, hurry up and mow that strip of grass. We're going to go to the Republic for drinks. She was all pumped. They're not open on Tuesdays.
Oh.
Meg was just shopping for Wednesday, getting ready for the rest of the week. They're closed on Monday and Tuesday. So, but that's a great spot. So Steph and I will probably be there for that. That's a good one.
We're doing Rooted Farmstead. They have like a spring market.
Mm-hmm.
We are North Atherton Farmers Market one day. Memorial Day Monday, we'll be right on the Diamond.
In Boalsburg?
Yep.
Cool.
We're doing Homestead Days, which is out at the Heirloom Farmer in Julianne.
Mm-hmm. I guess you're going to be at 814 one day?
Yep, 814 Cidery. We're going to be there.
I'm trying to get Matty LeClaire on here as well, but that dude is so incredibly busy all the time. It's hard to nail him down.
Yeah, we're excited to start going to wineries and breweries.
Mm-hmm.
We're sort of doing a different menu when we go there based on when people are coming and, dinner options. And so we're pumped about menu planning.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that's the cool part of it is like when you're planning the menu, it's not just these are the 4 things we make every single place we go. And that's what you're going to have if you want to eat at from our food truck. And
that's where Skylar's genius comes in. She loves cooking. Right now she's the executive chef at the Penn Stater.
Mm-hmm.
So she's leaving that job next week and then full-time food truck.
Oh, wow.
So we're doing it.
Making the jump.
Yep.
So are you still going to be working at Penn State?
Yeah. We need the benefits, really.
Oh, yeah.
So we have 4 kids.
Yep.
Chad farm full time, so
yeah, the farm doesn't just give you free insurance.
I wish.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, that's awesome. What else you got going on? Sounds like you don't really have anything going on at all. Like a food truck, running a farm, having a full-time job, having a bunch of kids, and
the kids are also showing this year, which is a new ball game for us. Our oldest showed a goat last year. Now. The 8-year-old, you have to be 8 to show.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a steer, so it'll be
just pick the biggest thing he could go with. Like I'll take that one out in there.
Luckily, we had some we can.
You could just peel one off for him. Like, all right, take this one.
But it'll be interesting to see because our beef is all grass fed, and so this gets grain.
Oh, that one does.
Yep.
Like is that like a stipulation?
It's not a requirement, but to get to the weight, they need to be. Like. You don't judge grass-fed and grain-fed the same.
Yeah, and they don't have like different divisions for that.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. So that'll be interesting to see that. And
so that one gets its own curated menu.
Oh yeah, he gets his own little pen.
It's got to be separated from the other ones.
Yeah, because those other ones would eat that grain up.
Yeah, we got to fatten that one up. So you're staying over there. I'm going to see him walking that freaking steer down the road in Stormstown.
Well, its name is Kevin, I told you.
Oh, yeah, Kevin.
Like
Kevin, just like my dog. Yeah.
So that's been a challenge trying to get that thing halter broke. And
that was something else I never thought
Yeah.
of. That you have to break a cow to walk him
Yeah.
around, a steer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder than the goat we did last year.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can kind of wrestle the goat around.
Yep.
The couple 100 to 1,000-pound steer is probably
Yeah.
a little different.
Yep.
It just a different life than what most people think about on a regular
yeah.
basis.
Yeah, last year we had a birthday party for my soon-to-be 11-year-old. And we had a bunch of our kids from our classroom come out. And it was like a 5-hour birthday party at the farm. You know, of course, we got like a deluge of rain the day before.
Oh, so it was a nice muddy
Yeah, and
day
I
too.
warned people. I'm like, hey, have your kids come in their rubber boots or, you know, whatever. I brought all of our shoes we had that, I don't care if they got dirty or they're mud boots or winter boots to let kids wear.
Yeah.
But, you know, they were all just running around. And a kid comes up to me and says, how often does Meadow get to do this? I said, she gets to do this every day.
This is how we live.
Yeah, and she's like, she is so lucky.
Yeah. Well, and they are. Like, it's a whole different experience
Yeah.
of life. Like, a lot of kids these days, and I don't have kids, so I can't judge anyone, but a lot of kids these days just live on a screen.
Yep.
And they're not out, you know, playing with animals and being outside.
Yep.
You know, when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed in the
come in.
house.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed inside.
Yeah, you
It was
weren't coming in.
Yeah, go somewhere else until the
Yeah.
streetlights come on, and then you can come inside and watch an hour of TV and then go to bed.
Well, I think a lot of adults live like that too, really.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And for me, like, the worst time of the year for me is the winter, because
yeah.
I got to be inside all the time.
Yep.
And then when summer comes around, man, and I can be outside and I can work out with the door open,
Yep.
and that's the best. I like being outside. I think it's better for you
Yep.
mentally, and I think you make better children that way when
Yep.
you're outside more. But like I
Yep.
said, I can't judge. I don't have children, so. But I think your kids will probably be better off and have a completely different work ethic than a lot of other
Yeah.
kids by
Yep.
having that experience.
Yeah, we do rely on them a lot to help up and step up for certain things. And
Well, yeah, like my great grandparents maybe. My dad had a picture. He had a photo of them, and he had it turned into a painting. But they had
that's nice.
18 kids. Because they had a farm,
Yep.
and that was your workforce.
Yep.
You don't pay people, and if you want to have a bigger farm, you have people to work
Yep.
there, and so they just kept pumping those kids out, and they had people to work on the farm.
Yep.
And my grandmother's brother, he tells us all the time, and I think he's almost 90 now,
Oh, wow.
but he tells us the farm stories all the time about when they worked on the
Yep.
farm, and it was. They all had jobs to do, and
Yep.
you know, they went to school, but they came home and then they had their farm chores to do, and they'd get up early and do the farm chores.
Yep.
And you know, gives kids a work ethic.
Yep.
And like teaches them, like, you have to get up and go do stuff. When someone tells me, like, hey, yeah, I grew up on a farm, it's like that person knows what work
Yes.
is.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
they lived a hard childhood
Yeah.
more than likely, and
Yep.
that's not a bad thing.
Right.
Like that's a good thing. I have a lot of respect for people
Yeah,
like
and we're
that.
also hoping to grow this for them too. Like,
Yeah, like you
we're-
said,
we're
you want
putting
to
the
turn that into
yeah.
like the Century Farm
Yeah.
thing. I see those signs around Center County.
Oh yeah, we would
and,
love that.
And for people who don't know what that is, it's a farm that's been in the same family for over 100 years.
Yep.
And they've just kind of passed it along, and their kids have taken up, and then their kids have taken it up, and there's just those things are disappearing.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's through development or whatever it is, or people just like they don't decide to farm. You know,
Right.
I've talked to people like Ralph Whelan.
Oh yeah.
Like Ralph Whelan, the last time I talked to him anyway, none of his kids wanted to farm.
Right.
Like so that if he doesn't find someone else that wants to take that up, like who's going to turn that in, like keep that farm going? Like,
Right.
I mean, it might go to one of the big, huge, I don't know if I'd call them factory farms, but
Yeah.
you know,
some of the larger ones we have in Center County.
yeah, some of
Yep.
those big ones out towards Spruce Creek and things
Yep.
like that, those guys, but you know, at least those continue on, and
Right.
that's a whole different industry. That's industrial type
Yep.
farming, but it's still, we have to get our food and
Yep.
that kind of stuff from somewhere.
Yeah.
Like you can't ship it all in, and I don't want 3D printed steak.
Right.
You know, I want to get it down the road. Yeah, because it's way better too. Like
Yep.
the stuff that you get locally that's not freaking shipped all over the
Yep.
country, and
And most beef actually in that commercial setting are given a hormone implant
Oh, I'm sure.
So most of what you buy at the store will have that.
Yeah, I'm
unless
sure.
you're buying something that's labeled natural or
And even then, I
organic.
don't trust it.
Yeah, you never know.
I don't trust that stuff. Someone figured out a loophole along the way as something they're going to do different. So they can still fit in it, but they did something else to try to get an edge.
Right.
Yeah. So that doesn't make sense to me.
Right. So we don't do any of that. We don't vaccinate. So our motto is, keeping them on healthy ground so they're not picking things up. We have a closed herd. The bulls come from with it, we bring bulls from our own herd up. So we try to incorporate that into our farming so it's not needed.
Yeah. So everything's staying here. And like you said, you don't have to worry about animals getting sick and things like that. And you don't have to worry about.
Yeah. Our worst situation was, I think 2 years ago, porcupine.
Oh, really?
Cows always seem to find them every couple years, and you have to put them in the head gate and
rip all the things out.
Yeah. That's fun.
Once again, something I never thought of.
Yeah.
Cows out there just trying to,
They're just so nosy.
Yeah, what's that thing over there? Yeah. Oh, yeah, when we lived at our old house and our dog would get into the cow pasture across the way.
They were probably all over there.
Oh, yeah. They would all just like gather around this 10-pound Jack Russell that had the same markings that they did. They're probably thinking, is this small cow? And the dog's probably like, are these big dogs? They look like me. So, yeah, they are interesting animals. Yeah. For sure. But everything I always watch on TV and stuff, I'm always fascinated about how, because you can go way down the rabbit hole of science with animals and stuff like that. You look at some of those big farms over in the Lancaster area, like the dairy farms that have like the brushes for the cows to go under. And some of those cows they're practically living in a spa.
Oh, yeah, for sure. A lot of the automated, large automated dairies. Yep.
That's some crazy stuff. Yeah, that's some crazy technology and the stuff that goes into it. And I'm sure they're probably doing a lot of that same stuff out in Spruce Creek, that big dairy farm out there. Yep. Yeah. I mean, those guys are...
Once you get so large, you sort of have to switch over to the more automated. And
yeah. Well, and you guys don't do any dairy stuff.
No.
But I always looked at that and I'm like, you can't take a day off.
Oh, Chad never takes a day off. Like, we went up to camp last Saturday and I think we were there. We left after feeding at 10:30, 11, and then we got home at 6 so we could feed in the evening. So it's
yeah, you can't. I mean, they're live animals out there. You can't just be like, I'm just gonna go on vacation for a week. You gotta find somebody to fill in.
Yeah, and then trust that they do,
and that they're not an idiot.
Do it right.
Right, that they're the smart farmer. Yeah, it's not some idiot down the street like, oh, what do I do here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely
You're married to the farm.
You're married to the farm, and people should be appreciative of that because that is where all of our food comes from. If it's the cliched saying, no farms, no food, but it's 100% true. Yep. And through real estate, I've had the opportunity to just be around a lot of farmers, and they're all great people. I have yet to meet one that's not a good person. Right. Because it's a work ethic. It's just how you have to be as a person. Right. And it's probably... You can't be in that industry if you don't have a certain personality and a certain aspect. Right. And those are just good people. Right. Yeah. Well, anything else you got going on you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
What about the dinner at Pine Grove Hall?
Oh, yes. We have a dinner coming up, Pine Grove Hall. That's sort of tied in with Center Markets. Mm-hmm. It's called Center of the Table. So it's a program that they've been running. I think it started in last fall. They feature a different farm every month. Our month is coming up in May 18th or 16th, whichever day's on a Thursday. And we provide them with the meat, and Chef Tori builds the whole menu around what he's using. I think it's going to be a great opportunity. The menu sounded delicious. New York strip, potatoes cooked in beef fat, carrots, sometimes maybe eclair, and a dumpling for the appetizer, which I love dumplings, anything in a pocket.
Yeah, that already sounds amazing. I did just eat before you came, and now I'm like, well, I'm going to have to eat again, which I'm super happy about because when it was originally supposed to be in April, and we're going to be out of town for that, and I wanted to be there for that. So now we'll be able to be there. So we'll definitely be there. Yeah, I had a couple of reviews say,
oh man, we're not going to be around. But now, hopefully...
Yeah, now that it moved, that's great, because now I'll be able to be there.
So we're pumped about that. May will be so busy. Market's starting. We've already started butchering sending things to butcher for market. The food truck kicking off first weekend of May.
Yeah,
This dinner. It's
you
like
have a lot of stuff going on while you have a full-time job and
4 children.
And 4 children. Yeah. So, but that's nothing different than you've really been doing before anyway.
Yeah, just juggle it.
Yeah, and that's kind of just the way people like you and I, kind of the way we operate. We're just like, well, I'll figure it out as I go.
Right.
I want to do this.
Make it till you make it.
Yep. And I'm going to start it, and it'll just figure it out as I go.
Yep.
That's how I started doing a podcast.
Yep.
I had sat here for 2 years going, I have all this stuff. I just don't know how to do it. And then
Just
one day
do
I'm
it.
like, I'm just going to do it. I'm
Yeah.
just going to sit down and I'll figure it
I
out.
think sometimes the fear is the biggest thing that holds us back. It's like,
100%.
what are you going to do? Fail? Big deal. Just
Yeah.
gonna do it again.
Yeah. Like no one's, we're harder on ourselves than anything
Yeah.
else
Yep.
because we're the ones paying attention. Probably no one else is paying attention. They're like, who are you again? I don't.
What happened?
Yeah. Oh, that happened. Oh, sorry that happened to you. Continuing on. Like,
Yeah.
we're just harder on ourselves.
Yeah.
And so we're more afraid of failing for ourselves than
Yep.
anything else. And usually it just works out.
Yep.
And if it doesn't work out, who cares?
Right.
Do something else.
Yep.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. So I'm definitely going to be out, see you more often than I have in the last couple of years. Now that you're going to be out and about dragging a food truck all around Center County.
Yeah. Definitely check our
At a bunch of my favorite places too.
Definitely check our Facebook for where we're going to be.
Yep. Check the Facebook, Farmstead Fusion.
Yep.
Um,
Come to the farmers markets.
Yeah, because you're always going to be there for sure. But a bunch of those events like 814 and Smith and Front,
pumped.
all that stuff, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
We're excited.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's good
this
to
is
see
great.
you.
You too. Talk to you soon.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. And don't forget to leave us a review. Your support means the world and helps others discover the valuable insights we share. Don't forget to follow Center County Homes on Instagram and like us on Facebook at Center County Homes. And as always, visit us on the web at markmcmaster.com.